So here's a good final question for you.
I thought that was the final question.
There'll be one more. So you've mentioned this before, is when you go down these journeys of self-exploration, there's going to be some shifts and maybe some changes as you're going about that journey. And the people around you will maybe have their feelings of the changes that are being made. So what is your best advice for people when it comes to their personal changes and how the people around them are witnessing it and responding to it?
So what I teach to someone that is a student of mine is different than what I can say publicly to the unknown populace. So there are a couple different answers to that. Ideally, what I would teach someone who is being supported in their process is to not spill their joy. And that means that when something is still vulnerable, don't put it on the chopping block. And so that essentially means that when you're uncertain or still insecure in something, you don't present it to be attacked, especially by someone that you know that change in you. If your relationship is somehow dependent on that habit and you're trying to change that habit, that person's reaction's probably not going to be all that loving. And they're going to say it's coming out of love, but it's really out of them wanting to maintain. Maintenance is not the same as sustainability. And so when something is still in process, you keep it to yourself. And that's usually why we find a community of support, whether that's in person or that's online, it doesn't matter. But you find people that you can help reinforce and galvanize those changes in you till eventually you can step out and be like, okay, I'm solid and this is who I am, and I'm confident and this is who I am. I'm not still exploring it, and therefore it's still up for debate. And so that's the best advice that I can give. That doesn't mean act the part. So if you don't resonate with something anymore, you don't have to still show up in that same way that they're familiar with, because more and more you start to feel inconsistent and you start to feel torn. So that's really hard to navigate without like having a whole hour talk on that. But for certain people, and you develop this discernment over time with certain people, the relationship that you have with those people, especially if they aren't optional in your life. Optional people mean you chose them in your life, like family members, stuff like that. They're not optional usually. People like that, you learn to discern that if you change certain things, it makes that dynamic intolerable. And you eventually realize that that person is actually after that particular expression of you, not after you. And it can be heartbreaking to have to come to that realization. But if you want or need to maintain that person in your life, then eventually you realize, I play a character for this person and that character serves them somehow. And you get to choose whether you're okay with showing up as that character sometimes or not. Because sometimes showing up as that character can actually be blowing off a bit of steam or something. So if you have a very challenging, negatively challenging relationship where you just get in fighting matches with that person, sometimes you need to blow off some steam. So you want to engage with that person because you're looking for a fight. It doesn't matter what that fight's about. And that's okay, as long as you know why you have that relationship in your life and you don't take it as, crap, I failed. I guess I wasn't healed and over anger because this person still triggers me. That person just really needs you to be that thing still. So there is a difference, and it takes a lot to be able to discern the difference. But that's a genuine thing. See, that's one of those things that people twist and use to excuse their behavior, and it's more insider teaching.
Tread lightly.
Yeah, it's one of those like insider teachings. You got to make sure somebody has a solid foundation before you start giving them those lines of excuse. But it's a part of it for those who are at that stage.
That was essentially you saying, like, you ride a bike by moving your legs and just keeping it balanced. Good luck. It takes a bit more back and forth to like really finesse the technique of that. Yeah.
That's like how I was taught to drive. Point it at the road and go. It's like, okay.